I think that's the reason why we have that strong relationship, and our partnership have been that strong and powerful, as you can see from today's workshop as well. So if you will allow me to share my screen, I think I will introduce my company a little bit. So can you all see my screen? Great. So now, Manu just gave us the welcome message and the self-introduction. So BCon.
Now it's blank for me. Yes, okay.
Yeah. So now I will introduce BCon, which has it's one of the oldest management Japanese company, and the founder of BCon, after the World War II, the American came to BCon so that they could teach about some management skills. And the founder of BCon, Mr. Taro, was very lucky to be working with that team. But he had some conflict with them because he believed in flexibility, and he thought that the skills they're trying to teach are great skills, but to apply that in the Japanese culture, they're failing at that part. And he has been pushing his idea a lot, but they couldn't hear him. That's why he left the company and then start a Business Consultant Incorporated in February 1964. So what do? We are a management consulting firm, and I think 80% of our work is based on organizational development. And in terms of organizational development, we're more like surveying the companies or individuals to find out what are the problems and then come up and design a solution for that. We have some IP products for that. And with those IPs, we partner with people who are doing the same work like us around the world. That's why you can see on the map I'm displaying right now a lot of dots. So we have partners in 108 countries around the world. Of course, for some people it's bigger, and for some it's smaller. And our company, we have branches in Korea, in China, in Singapore, in Vietnam, Indonesia, and Thailand. And we are working on opening a couple of new companies in the coming 3 years as well. So I would not spend too much time on introducing BCon, but I would say also that it's a 100% owned Japanese company, and we are about 500 people working for the company. And among those 500, I think in the headquarters right now as main consultant, there are only 3 of us are as foreigner doing the work for Japanese and the global market. So that's a brief introduction. And if you have more questions, I might stay, after the session, and we can have a little bit of chat. But I will keep it here and try to dive into why we're all here. I would just give you a little bit of whom we work with. These are some of our clients: Asahi, Inex, Hitachi. We've done a lot of work, and for these 56 and more years, I would say in our database right now, we have more than 3,000 clients with which we do business at a yearly basis. I think that's another point. I'm very thankful for that, because that's what's really helping us to survive this crisis we're living right now, this Corona era. So these are some of the companies we have been working with, especially in terms of innovation. The ITS program have been helping these organizations in terms of either like innovating their work process, or either creating new products, or either solving some problems that have been hindered in the organization for years. So I'm very happy to tell you that for the 26 years of the ITS program, it's still doing great job in Japan and around the world. Now, here is the question we're all waiting for and we're all curious about. Before getting very, very much deep into it, I would love to hear like just one or two, person. What is innovation? When you hear the word innovation, what comes up to your mind? What really comes up to your mind?
For me, it's an. Can I share?
Yes, go ahead.
So for me, it's a new thing which never existed before.
A new thing which never existed before. Very
Yes.
good. Okay. If I can hear just one more person. Yes, please go ahead, Giant. You're muted. If you could unmute yourself, that will help a lot.
Yeah, I'm Jayashree, using my husband's laptop. So for me, innovation is like definitely a solution for a problem that didn't exist. So innovation definitely is an answer to something.
Very good, very good, very good. Thank you very much for that. And I think this gives me the opportunity to clarify something from the very, very beginning. I think our friend defined innovation as something, the first definition we heard was something that did not exist, which sounds true for innovation. But is it true for innovation is a question I have right now. I've been doing this work intensively for the past 5 years. And what I see happening a lot is the difference between invention and innovation. Invention and innovation, of course, they both are something that didn't exist, something new that is coming to life. But the difference between invention and innovation is that invention is something new that just comes out. It can be related to science or any other thing. And that new thing doesn't have to have any economical or value related thing. But when we talk about innovation, when you say innovation, you're talking about something new that brings value, that adds value to what we're doing. There is an economical attachment to innovation. And the second definition that brilliantly addressed the solution part. The innovation happens generally, the first innovative product that we saw, those products were all created to solve problems. When people were trying to solve problems, they had to be innovative because it's something that existed and they had to come up with different solutions. That's how the innovation itself started. And then moving forward, it took some other aspects, which are innovating the work process or innovating your product or innovating your value chain and so on and so forth. So many things came after that. But I would like to emphasize the part that when you say innovation, please see behind it the economical or value attachment, which is different from invention. Now, I think, this question, we all have answer for this now. Why is innovation needed from the first place? But just to keep this session interactive, I would love to hear some thoughts about that. You can unmute yourself and just tell us, why do you think innovation is needed now?
Yeah, this is Ramendra Singh here.
Yeah, Ramendra.
I believe that the quality of our life is basically, it demands more and more. So because we look something more on all days on routine way. So this is a requirement that we want something better and better. So for a better articles, better services, better these things, or better product, we need innovation actually. So innovation is one kind of basically that something, improvement in the quality or cost wise, something improvement like that.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. Thank you very much, Ramendra. I'd love to hear more. Can anyone else share? I've seen some comments saying for improvement or to make life easier. Can somebody else give us his thought about this?
Creating value.
Creating value. Another very good point. So now, I think all you have just said make a lot of sense, and they're all true. What I would like to add on to that is, if we look at our business environment today, and we look at the product life cycle that we have, which is a reality for us today, I would take the phone, that phone we have. When I was in high school, or let's say at the university, when Nokia created a new phone, it was there for 4 years. On the 3rd year, people will still be going to buy the new version of that phone. And moving forward, it starts to be shorter. So the product life cycle have tremendously reduced, which means there is need to come up with new things constantly. That's the first thing. The second thing is our business model and the logistic part, our marketing. How do we work on this? Can we have the same marketing strategy we had last year? No. Of course, the innovation is here. That comes into the definition you all gave, to easy our life, to improve our work. But if we look at it from a more detailed, I think innovation is here to help us survive because of the speed of the change we have in the market environment. So we need innovation. And to survive, here are some new standard of global competitiveness. The quality of product and process. I would take Japan. Right now, if you look at Asia, Japan is doing pretty well with innovation, but at some levels. If you look at the car industry, Toyota is still hitting the top level. If you look at the electronics, the heavy ones, Japan is still doing very good. But if you look at the small ones, like iPad or like, earplugs, Japan is not doing very well. And why is this happening? Because the quality of the product and the process, that perception had changed. When you say Japan, you're talking about quality, and that is not changing in Japan. And because Japan is still looking for this very high standard quality, so for the small devices, it's taking them longer time. And they're lagging behind a little bit when it comes to that. And the other companies or other countries, they're faster because they're just going with the average standard. So you need to pay attention to the quality of the product and the process. And if you innovate very well, of course, I'm not talking about lowering the quality. For here, we can talk about the process of your work, how to enhance that. Variety for maximum choice. And customization for specific taste. We used to have a lot of standards. We create a product and we put it out there and we sell it for a year, for 2 years. But now, if you put out a product, it's there the heat can last for 3 months or 6 months, but you need to change it. All the product comes with survey these days. All the serious product, they sell it, they try to hear more from the client, and then they readjust it and they customize it and bring it back on the market. Convenience of ease and speed of access. That's, the sales part, the logistics. Timeliness with short innovation cycle. If you're well equipped with innovation skills, it helps you go faster in terms of product development, and the cost, the lowest cost, it helps you reduce the cost as well, because it's not about, if you're paying $10,000 per month to produce 50 vehicle or 50 cars. If you innovate that and you can still pay $10,000 per month and create 150 cars, you're lowering your cost because you're speeding up. Global availability to be delivered on demand, which is globalization as we see today. The doors are open. You can't have a hands-on control on your market anymore. People will be playing everywhere. So the one who is the most innovative, the fastest, are the one coming on the market, and they're the one who are taking the juice of the market. Now, creativity. So when we talk about innovation, we're also talking about a process. And what is that process? To innovate something, you need to start with a new idea. What are some of the skills or techniques, or how can I come up with new ideas, is some of the things we address in our innovation program. But before getting into details with that, I would like to just ask a quick question. If you know the answer, just type it on the chat box or unmute yourself to say, can you read this? What's written here? That was very fast. Great, thank you. Now, you got this right. So don't type the answer yet, but if you know it, just raise your hand. I hope your camera is on. Please read this one. What is this? I'm now looking at the overall thing. If you know it, just type on the chat, I know. Okay. Yeah, somebody got it. Okay, good. Yes, you got it right. That's ITS. So I'm sure this went very fast, but what I would like to bring your attention to is, especially for those who couldn't read it right away, is when I wrote change here, the change is written in black, and therefore it's changed. So now in your mind, the writings are done with the black mark. But when I show this, I'm sure many of you were trying to read the black one. And that probably, give you hard time, but it is ITS like this. Now, the second thing I would like to do is, I would very much appreciate if many of you can turn on your videos in this. So let's take just 30 seconds. It doesn't have to be the most beautiful in the world, but quickly just draw a fish. Very quickly, just draw a fish. And I would like you to show your fish. You know, you can just turn on your camera for 30 seconds and show your fish. So I would appreciate if you avoid writing on my screen and do it on a paper and turn on your video to show it. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. I can see. Now, yeah, keep showing your fishes. Very few people. Okay, let's do it that way. So now, where is the head of your fish? So your fish, when you drew it, did you draw it with the head on the left-hand side or in different direction? Please write in the chat. If the fish is on the head is on the left-hand side, please just write left. If it's on the right-hand side, just write right. Just write that quickly.
You can see lots of left.
Yes.
Mostly left, mostly left.
It looks like at least 80% left from whatever I can see.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Maybe
And
more.
you know, this is something I have done almost all in Africa, in Europe, in Asia, in America, everywhere for these 5 years. As I said, I've been working intensively with and most of the time, over 80% of people will draw a fish having his head on the left-hand side. And when you ask questions, people have some valid reasons. They say because we're right-handed and we start, you know, drawing from the left side. Some people say because when we started to learn writing a fish, they showed us how to write it that way. These are very valid reasons. Some people even get into the left brain and right brain explanation. You know, and what I would like to say here to start is there is nothing wrong writing the fish having his head on the left-hand side.
And then you mean drawing the fish?
Drawing the fish. Thank you very much, Manus. There's nothing wrong with that. Some other people will draw a fish with his head on the right-hand side, and you ask them to draw a fish 5 times, they would draw a fish 5 times having his head on the right-hand side. So what I'm trying to say here is, it's because when we started to write or to draw a fish, it was like drawing the head as a 3 reverse and then the fish, or because we start writing from the right-hand side, or because if you look at the encyclopedia or you go to Google and type fish, you will see that the major part of the fish you will be seeing have their head on the left-hand side. If you go to the aquarium, sometimes they have sign with fish, and the fish there always have his head on the left-hand side. So because we see it that way, because we were taught that way, unconsciously, we don't become so creative to try different things. When I say draw a fish, the first thing that's happened is you think about the image of the fish. And once the click, the image of the fish comes up, the fish you were taught to draw, or the last fish you draw, or the fish you saw at the aquarium, is what you bring back, and that becomes the idea, and automatically that's what you put on the paper. So this is the mechanism, the thinking pattern we have, which is very good because that's what allows us to know our history, to know what happened yesterday. Very important. But what I would like to say here again is, when it comes to innovation, that can be something harmful. Because when we talk about innovation, we want to be able to see things from completely different perspective. And when we are facing that, sometimes it's very difficult for us to do it just by thinking or by trying. And therefore, we need some tools. Fish like this, the head on the left-hand side. But we could draw it this way, or this way, or that way. There are many different ways of drawing fish. You don't need to be a very good drawer of fish. You can just try it. Make, especially for here, make a circle, and that's it. But the way we were taught, because that's easy, because we're used to that, we go with that. So all these things that I introduced for the first, like here, is to try to raise your attention about the thinking pattern we have as human beings. And that thinking pattern can be so strong that it can, harm our innovative skills or our chance to become innovative. There is something called taga. In Japan, it's a barrel, but that, iron belt we have on the barrel is what we call taga. And taga is the constraining strap of the thinking. The limitation or limiting parameters preventing the emergence of new ideas. And what are some of those taga? For example, business environment. You will still find some people saying, no, I don't want to innovate anything. With this corona time, nobody is going to buy new things. People don't need it. Or people are poor. They don't want to spend money. We blame the business environment or the company background. No, our company has been like that for 50 years, so there's nothing we can change. This is the belief. Or we don't have much money for that. The human resource has their plan. We have to stick to that. We don't have the technology. No, we don't have time for that. No, our organizational structure is designed that way. Therefore, this kind of business model wouldn't work. Or, no, I can't bring that idea there. My colleagues have higher ranks and, or just about myself. No, I'm not good. Even if I bring this idea, people won't listen to it or people won't believe in it. Now, we have those restraining forces that we need to get ourselves out of. But again, we also have some structure that can help us become creative and follow a process that will help us bring about innovation. Let's see this example. The mechanism of idea generation. Now, as I said, from here on the left-hand side, the example of the fish. When I say draw a fish, you had to go for a hint. What is a fish? What kind of fish can I draw? And once that hits, then the image comes. And that image is what you put on the paper to become that fish with the head on the left-hand side. But what we want to do is to change that, to help ourselves with more equipment. If I want to be creative, I want to innovate the car. If I tell myself, a car with an engine on the roof. If I start from there, I definitely have to be innovative. So if the engine is on the roof, what type of car will we have? I will design a completely new car. Or if I say a car with 20 headlights, if something doesn't change, the minimum thing is the shape of the front of the car will change. So these are the way we can innovate. A car that runs backward only. If I have a car that runs backward only, I need to find a solution. I think that's the reason why we have cars now. When you put the back gear, you see the little camera showing you everything behind you. So if I can do that naturally, it's very good. But is it possible for me to do this all the time? Okay, innovative phone. What can I say? What can I say? I will start thinking from there. But if I tell myself, what if a phone is something that we don't need to hold? If I start from there, I need to come with something crazy. So to let you, or to give you a taste of some of the techniques we use, I would like to introduce you to the technique B. And let's, practice this together and see how it be. So the technique B here is a technique that helps us break the common notion and come up with something new. Let's take the example of the shoes, for example. Let's say you work for a company and they ask you to come up with a new idea about shoes. The company is in the shoes industry. When you're told that, you have these 3 columns in this framework. The first thing you need to do is to come up with the common notions of the shoes. You can use the chat box. What are some of the common notions of the shoes? Just type whatever you think.
Has a soul.
Very good. Shoes has a soul.
Okay.
Anybody? Very good. What else?
Laces.
You need a left
Lace,
shoe and a right
yes.
shoe.
There is a left and the right. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a
Thong, leather.
leather.
There's so many things. Very good. Very
Yeah,
good.
it's always
Shoes
in
is
a
there.
pair. Okay.
Very good one. I'm very happy you guys are catching it. So now, these common notions you just listed in the chat box is what are needed here. Let's say just these 3 examples. Let's stick to these 3 examples. Shoes are worn on feet. Okay. The second one, shoes are worn when walking. And the third one, shoes with heels. So that's the first thing you need to do. Write down all the common notions. And then when you do that, the next thing we want you to do is to break that common notion, to negate that common notion. And when you do that, you need to use only no or not. Let's go with this. The common notion here for the first one is shoes are worn on feet. So our IG here called idea generator. Shoes are not worn on feet. So I need to negate it.
So Dante, you can also call idea generator like a trigger for new thinking, right? Or a hint.
Yeah, it's
for
like
new
a trigger for new thinking. Exactly.
Right. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Great.
And now, shoes are worn on feet. Shoes are not worn on feet. What if you have this statement in front of you? What kind of idea can you come up with? Back to your chat box. If it's shoes, shoes to correct posture, very good. Shoes for toes, excellent. A lot of ideas. We have foot wrap sandals, you know.
A shoe that fits any foot,
Yeah,
any size of foot.
you know, a lot of examples. Shoes with only soles, exactly, you know, and you can put it in your room and use it for many things. So now I'm hoping that very good examples you're sharing in the chat box. I appreciate that. I'm hoping that you understand the framework we're using. Common notion, negate, break it, and get your idea from the statement that negates it. The second one, shoes are worn when walking. What will be the IG for that? Shoes are not worn when walking. So somebody wrote not only for walking, which will not be the right way to go with this framework. It has to say exactly, they're not worn when walking. So you have to put only not in the sentence to have the full value of it. And if the shoes are not worn when walking, what are some of the ideas we can have? Wild ruler. Yes, I would love to see more ideas about that. For sliding, spring for jumping. Good. Yeah. For fashion. Very good one. Very good one. Yes. So, yeah, very good. Now, this is what we have. Shoes for carrying athlete food while sleeping. You know that we have that special shoes for athletes that they need to wear when sleeping, when they have problem with their feet. So this type of shoes came out of these innovations. I'm not saying this came with ITS, to be clear with it, but I believe that innovation designed that way are what led to creating products like this, or product to solve this type of problem or needs. Now, the last one, shoes with heel, shoes with no heels. What can be the ideas for that?
Okay, you
Would
want
love
people
to hear.
you want people to respond to that?
Yes,
Okay,
shoes
good.
are for swimming. Shoes for toes, good one. Flat sole, yeah. Very good, very good. Excellent, excellent. So thank you so much. I'm very happy that you're getting this. But again, I will just explain the process one more. So when you have to come up with an idea about something like as we just did, a new type of shoes, the first thing you need to do, the list of common notions, write as much as possible there. And when you finish, for the IG, idea generator, just negate those statements you wrote on the left-hand side by using no or not. And then from there, try to come up with new ideas. because this is in the middle. This one in the middle is what really forces you to take new perspective. Somebody asked for the third one. It's fitness shoes. You know that we have some fitness shoes that doesn't have heels, and people use it and walk only on their toes so that they can, you know, train their legs to have stronger legs, you know. Yeah, something similar to that. So now, variety of size, no variety of size. And this one, I didn't put anywhere anything here because I believe you will all find out, you know, one side, yeah, flexible, self-adjusted, universal size, one size fits all, you know. Now, let's give it a try. You know, I would like you to take about 3 to 5 minutes to work individually. I would like to see your work. You come up with, you know, solution for this. Develop unique approach to movie theater. Let's assume that you work for a movie theater. You are the manager. And there is a very, very high competition on the market. And now you have to come up with new ideas in your movie theater, inside the movie theater. What kind of ideas, new ideas, can you come up with? So please come up with the common notions of the theater, negate them, and come up with the new ideas. So Manush, how much time would you like to give them for this exercise?
I think 2 minutes is good enough.
Okay, let's go for 2 minutes.
So let everybody, you should try to do at least one. So one common notion, one idea generator that is negating the common notion, and one new idea triggered by this idea generator, right? So,
yes.
And you can write in the chat what the common, so write this thing, common notion, and then the idea generator, which is putting the no or the not, and then the new idea that you can think of. So first step is to start with common notions. So if you can, everybody, if you can put in the chat at least one common notion that you have around theaters. Okay, seats, we have to go to watch, movies are for entertainment, screen is in the front. These are the common notions.
Let me
Very
share
good.
that with you. What I would like you to do is to do it individually, because I would like a couple of you to present.
Yeah, but Dante, I asked them that first let them share the common notions, then
So
they
how
can
about
they
Manish,
can
how
then now
about
work on it.
how about they do it individually first, the all three things themselves first?
Okay, good. So now they've done the common notion. So now you can do the next two steps together, and then you share all the three things. Okay, and it would be good if you put your video on and unmute and share.
Yeah, thank you.
Common notion is work hard to earn money.
Connected with a movie theater. Connected with this topic of movie theater.
Manoj, can I share?
Well,
Yeah,
let's wait like one more minute.
Okay, good.
To see the movie, theaters are required. That is a common notion.
For example, a common notion will be when people come in the theater, for example, people sit and watch the movie.
Yes.
And the breaking will be
Dante, you were on mute. Can you'll have to speak up again?
oh, sorry. So
Theaters
I
are
was-
not
I was-
required.
I was
Theaters are not
saying-
required for watching movie.
I was saying that what I was saying is, for example, one common notion of a movie theater is, for example, people sit and watch the screen. Then if you say people do not sit and watch the screen, what kind of ideas can come out of this? That can be one common notion. There are many other things that way.
So Dante, you want some people to share?
Yeah, that would be very good.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. Chaitanya, you wanted to share, and then we can have other people.
Yeah, I mean,
share.
I just had this idea. Like normally people go to the theater to watch a movie. So I was
Okay,
thinking, what if-
let me quickly
Use the
say
format.
something. Let me quickly say something. When you share, I would like you to use the framework,
Yeah.
I introduced. So about movie theater, the common notion is one.
So
The breaking is this, and the new idea is this.
the common notion is to watch a movie. What was the second slide again? Second one was the
Breaking.
naked. Yeah. So the second point is not to watch a movie. So the idea is to socialize and to dine and along with watching a movie, a different experience. And instead of the seats being next to each other, it can be a circular kind of a format.
That's great. That's a whole new idea for your company, for example. And you can have a new room for people who really love movies and for people who would just come for socialization. Very good, very good. Who else would like to share?
So common notion, Vivek here. Common
Yes,
notion
Vivek.
is that you have a ticket and you have to stand in a long line and it will take half an hour to get to your seat.
Yeah.
Whereas now you just have an app and you just have to wave your phone past a certain scanner and just walk in and go and sit on your seat automatically. It will have a GPS map that will take you to your seat. So there's no waiting and everybody is very comfortable.
Yeah, so I see. So people have to stand in long line to get in. People do not have to stop in long line to get in. Then develop an app that allows people, to just swap their phone with the app and get inside. Very good one. Very good one. Yeah. Who
Can I
else?
share? Can I
Yes,
share?
please.
Yeah. So the common
then
notion
Ashok.
is,
Jayashree and then Ashok.
yeah, thank you. The common notion is that you pay for one whole viewing, the ticket price, like say $5. The IG breaking is that you do not pay for one whole viewing. And the idea is that you walk in, you pay for half an hour that you watched and you walk off. So many more people can see and just make the rest of the story in their mind.
I love that idea.
Thank
You
you.
see, very good, very good, very good. Yes.
Ashok.
Anyone else?
Yeah, basically, and a screen in front which you view the movie. Idea generator is no large hall and no screen. We sit outside the park also and watch the movie. Maybe on our have
Very good.
spectacles and seat on the spectacles.
Another great one. Another great one. Yes. Who else?
Idea generated is like you have a spectacles where you can watch a movie on spectacles.
Sorry?
Idea generated is you watch the movie in your spectacles directly.
What is the common notion?
Common notion is theaters, screens is not required.
No. Common notion is screen is required. Then the
Yeah.
idea generator will be screen is not required. And then the idea will be you watch it on your spectacles. That's the format.
And that makes it a brilliant idea.
Yeah. You can.
Lira wants to go.
Yeah, Lira.
You're on mute.
In fact, I had two ideas. So one common notion is you have to pay money to watch a movie.
Right.
Yes.
So if I don't pay money to watch a movie, that's my idea. And suppose my idea is donate to a favorite charity. So
Okay.
it's not a payment to watch the movie, but a donation.
Donation to the charity. Okay. I thought you were going to say you get paid to watch movies.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. I've got a second one, which is a screen in front and no screen in front, in which instead of spectacles, I was looking of an immersive experience.
Okay, great, fantastic.
Very good, very good, very good. Yeah.
So I have an idea.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I would love to hear more.
Yeah, I want to talk in the perspective of the business side, not as the customer side. So business side, I want to give the idea like the idea is the customer has to sit for 3 hours or 2 hours for a movie. So the idea is not to sit for 3 hours. So I want to give a window of 1 week if he wants to see the movie for a half before break or interval, and then he can go back and he can do his job. And after 2-3 days, he can come back to see the second half.
Very good.
Wow, that's an excellent one.
But it should be in a window because the movie will be out of the theater in that case.
Yes, it has to be before the next Friday.
Yeah.
Manoj.
Yes.
Manoj.
Yes,
and,
yes.
Mohammed. The common idea is an extraordinary sound system. This is common for all. Creating a sound system which is individually given on their seat.
Okay, very good. Fantastic.
Another
May I
great
share,
one.
Manoj? One more here, Manoj.
Yeah, Mitesh, go ahead.
Yeah, so common is there is a very short interval in the movie theater and everybody going and rushing for the snacks.
Right.
So what in my mind, like there should be a menu button on my seat. I press the button and the food is ready and it should be delivered like as it is delivered in the flight.
Okay.
Okay,
good.
very good.
I want to share.
Interesting. Yes, go ahead.
I want to share. Taking you like due to the corona time and safe distance we are keeping. So take your. It was an older idea, but with a new format. Like take your drive your car into an open campus, and there will be a big restaurant. So no need to, or you can take your own food, home food also, and go to the open theater, open to sky.
Drive-in theaters.
Drive-in type theater, but taking the like that.
Okay, fantastic. Very good.
I see. Very good. Very good.
So, yeah, Rohini, go ahead.
So the common notion is.
Sorry, everybody else, can you go on mute? Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I have
Rohini, go ahead.
Seating and confined seating and.
Ramendra, I'll come back to you. Yeah, Rohini, go ahead.
Yeah, common notion is seating and screen.
Okay.
A breaking idea is there is no seating and no screen.
Okay.
The new idea is there'll be a digital theater with an interactive screen so that I participate in the movie which I'm watching.
Very good.
I would definitely visit. I would definitely visit that movie theater.
Fantastic.
Let me tell you this. Okay, go ahead.
We'll take Ramendra and then you can go ahead, Dante.
Sure.
Yeah, but the common notion is that seat, which are basically to sit. But the IG is the breaker is not to sit, means not to watch the movie, but to. And then idea is that we have to make some arrangements in the seat so that people can get relaxed, like massage and something can be done in the theater itself.
I have a lot of theater to visit because I definitely want to go there too.
Here in India, we are having one theater in Gujarat. He has a bed into double bed instead of seats. Already running theater in Gujarat.
Very good. Fantastic.
I see. Great. So yeah, now this is a bit how it works. And for example, I've done this program in Egypt like 2 years back. And what happened is there was somebody who was in the movie industry, and the reason why I even put this example is we did it, and someone came with the example of people come to watch a movie. The breaking was people do not come to watch a movie. And the idea they came up with, people come to play their own movie. And that lady, she brought this to her company. And guess what? 1 year later, they called me, they sent me a beautiful message, and they told me that they have created a kind of movie theater where people come and play their own movie. But now they're doing it only for like kids. On weekend, people can come with their children. It's like improvisation. And it has been helping them a lot. It became a new business inside their company. So what I would like to say here is we have tools out there that can help us be creative and come up with new ideas that can help us be different from our competitors, ideas that can help us really be on top of the competition. So these brilliant ideas now, we have them. And what happens is, if I work for a company and I'm a team member, I have this brilliant idea. What I need to do is probably to share with my manager. And if my manager likes it, he shares with our department director. And then maybe the board member will have a discussion about it. So what I'm trying to say here is having a great idea is very important for innovation. But after the great idea, there is still a long way to go. And if you don't understand and have a good process for that, you will see your ideas dying in the drawers. I've visited a lot of companies, and many of them have drawers full of ideas, but they're not implemented. And now what I would like to introduce here, I thought I shared my screen, but it's out now.
Yeah, you'll have to share it again, Dante. Yeah, you can do resume slideshow.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that. Okay.
You see the button there? Yeah.
Yeah. So now, having a great idea, what can we do behind the great idea is some of the things I would like to introduce you. So we do not have time to go through everything, but I would like to give you the overview of what we call ITS, Innovative Thinking System, because a system that facilitates innovation needs to be there. So first of all, what you need to have is idea generation skills. We call it diversion thinking. And in this program, we have 7 techniques that are here to help you become very creative. You don't have to rely on how smart you are or how smart your team is. It's all about coming up with the framework that you can utilize and just pour ideas. For those 7 techniques, we only experienced the technique B on top, which is the breaking. Now we have seen an example of the breaking, and we have 6 others that have structure similar to what we have just done, but they're all different techniques that helps you come up with ideas. Now I have a lot of ideas. What can I do next? The next thing you need to do is to screen those ideas. And when I say screening ideas, it's very important, you know, and I think when we were designing the ITS program as a consulting firm, one of the things we wanted to keep in it was to help people see the big picture of the organization, to at least try to stand from the management perspective and look at what they can do within the organization. So when you're screening the ideas, you need to pay very much attention to what are the objectives of my organization? What is the mission or the vision my company is trying to achieve? And when I'm screening the ideas, of course, this needs to be some of the criteria. And how new is this idea? And how feasible is this ideas is what will come at the next part. But you need to screen the ideas based on some of the managerial understanding. Why? There is a reason for that. But let me share the next one, which is polishing. So you have polished, you have select the best ideas, the ideas you really believe in. And now you need to introduce those ideas so that they are accepted and implemented. But hey, I work for the marketing department. I have this brilliant idea. The trap in which we fall many times is I tend to look at my ideas only from the marketing perspective or the marketing standpoint. But what else I need to do is to ask myself some questions and come up with answers. What if the human resource department were looking at this idea? How will they see this idea to stand from their perspective? How will people from the finance department think about this idea? How about the product development? How about the sales? So I need to look at the product from all the perspectives and make sure that I polish that idea so that it's accepted by the board or by people who need to make the decision. If I come with an idea and I don't care about how much risk that idea might put the brand of our organization, do you think the CEO or some of the board members will take time looking at that idea? No. If I come up with a brilliant idea, very innovative, but I'm not very sure about how much money that idea can bring in the company. Do you think the finance department will be supportive to that? No. So this is where you really need to work on those things. Look at it from all those perspectives, do a brilliant presentation so that the idea is accepted and is gone for implementation. And in the implementation part, we do have steps as well. But something I would come back and explain is, as I said, for the diversion part, we have 7 techniques to come up with ideas. And for the screening part, we have 7 steps or 7 techniques that the ideas need to go through so that we're sure this is the ideas that fits our organization. This is the ideas that can make sense in this business environment. These are the right ideas. And then for the polishing part, we have 7 steps or 7 techniques there as well, so that we're sure that we have looked at this idea from multiple perspectives. And if we do a good presentation, that idea is likely to be accepted in the organization. And then we go for the mapping techniques. In organizations, sometimes we are very excited to start projects. This is a brilliant idea. Let's work on it. Let's do it. We start a 1-year project. The first 2 months, everybody's excited. After 3 months, 5 months, people start to avoid each other because I haven't done my work, you haven't done yours. It helps me if you don't bring the conversation. You don't have to worry because I'm not ready to bring that conversation. I haven't done my part yet too. And that's how the ideas are left behind. So in the ITS program, we try to come up, I think in some other product they will say prototyping, but we call it the implementation map. This covers the full-fledged on what needs to be done, who needs to do it, how that person needs to do it, and how is the report going to be, and what are the deadlines. So everything is put in this structure in a very clear way so that we have the 4 steps well structured, well done, and very clear to everybody. If we go for a project, we want to make sure that it happens. And I think that is the reason why the ITS program have been used intensively with many organizations in Japan here and around the world. I personally have done a lot of work with Mitsubishi company, the car industry. And up to this year, because of the corona, every year they will take people who have spent 3 years in the company. They are not senior yet. They came with some fresh ideas and they have learned about the company. They're starting to have important ideas. They will select 30 of those young people and I take them for a kind of camp. And we stay there for 2 weeks. And we spend more time for each of those steps. And at the end of the 2 weeks, the last 2 days, some of the board members and directors will come and will do the first day, we'll do the presentation for them. And at night, we decide the ideas, they confirm the implementation, and then the last day, the assignment and everything is done. So this process is very powerful. It has made its proof in Japan, in the United States. We have a partner in the US who have done tremendous work with Nike. In the Nike industry, he now became a very important consultant for Nike. And ITS is one of the things he had been using for the past 10 years intensively there. So what I would like to say is the process looks simple, but it's very powerful. So this is the overview of the ITS program. So we have the 7 techniques to generate ideas, 7 techniques to screen the ideas to make sure we have the right one, and 7 techniques to polish those ideas so that they're accepted internally, and not only accepted so that people buy into it, therefore the support will be there, and then 7 techniques for the mapping. So these are the 4 steps of the ITS program. And these are some of the applications. And I wouldn't say that this is very special to only ITS. This is more like for any good innovation program, I would say. It's for improvement. It's for problem solving. It's for personal development. It's for creating new values and opportunities. And of course, it is for future assessment as well. And when I do that, you know, when I introduce this, people sometimes have questions about what do you mean by future assessment? By future assessment here, what I'm trying to say is when we generate ideas, on the second step, we have the screening part. And from there, we have to look at the future and try to position the idea in the future. Is this idea very unique? Is this idea going to last on the market? And so on and so forth. That's the first part. And the second part is, of course, we do have a survey for the ITS program, which if we have time, I will quickly show you. And that survey also helps, you know, to understand, because when you go to organizations, sometimes people would say, yeah, we're very serious about innovation. We even have an innovation team. Oh, very good. How about the rest of the company? If you stop the innovation to only a team and you don't care about the rest of the organization, something might happen. But would that be something sustainable is a great question I have. We need a team to follow up with the projects. But when it comes to the innovation itself, I think it's very important that we all have the general ideas of what innovation is, what are the processes, and how can we go about it. So Manoush, I think this is about it from my side. If we have any questions.
So, Dante, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So thank you very much. You can stop the screen share for some time. And if time permits, we might do one more technique from the divergent thinking. But before we do that, let's see if you have, if people have any questions or you would like to get some more clarity. That would be great. Okay, so before we go for an experience one more technique, let's see if you would like to ask something about the ITS program. Any questions, anything, okay? So you'll have to unmute and ask a question, or you can put it in the chat. So if you have any questions, you should write. In the meanwhile, I will also create some relevant points. So as we said, we do the OD consulting work, and innovative thinking is one of the tools. Innovative thinking system is one of the tools to create innovation as a culture in the organization. And as Dante pointed out, it is good that you have some people have dedicated teams, but it is better if everybody is in the game of innovation, not like some people. right? And especially in the current era, you will find that it's important that each and every person has an opportunity to contribute to building the future in the organization. So the way we work in organizations is in the form of consulting, but most companies may not be ready for starting a whole consulting project. So what we do is we offer them a 2-day or a 3-day in-house workshop where they learn mostly the divergent thinkings. And when they learn the divergent thinking, they create like hundreds and hundreds of ideas. Right? And they also then learn some of the other techniques was screening techniques to scientifically shortlist those ideas. And then, as Dante mentioned, to then polish and strengthen the ideas and then make them implementation ready. So depending on the commitment of the organization and what areas they want to focus on, we guide them on how to go about it. Right? Like for example, in one of the organizations we are recently working, we did a 2-day session for only divergent thinking. Then we gave them 2 weeks time to come up with specific set of ideas on the certain focus areas that they had in their business. And there were actually 5 areas they took on, in which then the teams worked on and created huge set of ideas, hundreds of ideas. Then they came back and then we trained them in the screening techniques, and then they scientifically shortlisted those ideas. Now, the next thing we are doing with them is those shortlisted ideas, we are now training them on how do you strengthen and polish them and expand the magic of those ideas. The next phase will be to actually look at what Dante was pointing at, the real challenges of implementation and how do you facilitate the implementation of these ideas. Because ideas is okay, but nobody's going to pay for your idea really if you cannot execute it, right? So making them implementation ready. So these are 4 phases. If you want to learn all the 4, you can learn in one shot also. But really what would work is if your team learns something, which is the divergent thinking, and does some work on that, and then they get trained on the other aspects of it. So there are various forms in which you can take this to your organizations. And what I recommend is those of you who are interested to know more about how do you take it to your organization, you can get in touch with us. I have put in my contact details here. We generally don't do much of open workshops in this, but we will also be willing to do that. What is required to do open workshops is we need a couple of companies who say, okay, we don't have a full house, 20 people, 30 people or more, but we would like 4 or 5 people from our company to experience it. And we can put such teams, because you cannot do innovation as a individual participant. It's always a team participation. So if you're interested in that, again, you can get in touch with us. I have put my contact details there, and you can get in touch with me and we will take it forward. Dante, unless people have any other questions, I was actually looking at giving them one more technique, if you are okay with it.
Okay, let me try to bring something.
Yeah, and I was looking at if you want to do technique O or something.
Okay, yeah.
It is just it is powerful and at the same time fun.
Sure.
If you, I mean, unless you have some other ideas, of course you should decide.
No, let me try to pull it out.
Okay, great. And in the meanwhile, if you have any questions, anything that you want us to clarify, please feel free to unmute and speak or respond in the chat. Okay, and we would like to gift you one more technique. These divergent techniques are so powerful in creating abundance of ideas. By the way, I hope you can see in your own company, on your own business, how you could use this technique, right? So the technique B that you just learned, which is taking the common notions breaking the common notions, and then creating new ideas. I recommend you can actually have some meetings with your team and share this technique with them and practice it. Maybe you'll be surprised of the kind of crazy number of ideas that you could get, right? We have had 5 people, 10 people teams coming up with 100 ideas very easily using these techniques. Okay, so try it out. Okay, over to you, Dante. Are you ready?
Yes,
Okay.
let me share my screen then.
Okay, sure.
Are you ready?
Yep. Jaya, in the MSME space, yes, we are very committed to support the MSME space, and you should be get in touch with me, and we will see what we can do. We are dedicated, actually. One of our team members is dedicated to make sure that we support our offerings for the MSME space. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, over to you, Dante.
Great. So now let's go with technique O. And the technique O here is all about overstating. You know, dream is free. We're all allowed to dream. And I think this technique really helps us to spread our wings, to fly to higher places, I would say. I would quickly explain what it is with this example. Let's say, for example, that you work for a restaurant, and in that restaurant, the numbers are getting low, you know, the sales is not doing very good. And you're asked to really come up with new ideas. Now, when you do that, by using the technique O, which is about overstating, we also have this framework here, these 3 steps. The first thing you need to do is the standard features of the restaurant. On the technique B, we're calling them the common notions. But in here, we will go with the features because specific, you know, things related to the restaurant. Number 1, 30 to 40 items on the menu. When you go to the restaurant, they take the menu and they give it to you, and you have choices. You know, there are many things. And generally in the restaurant, they might have table for 2 or table for 10 or 15, but table for 4 people are very common. And this cost might differ from place to place, but a good dinner might cost you about $30 per person. Now, these are the common notions of the restaurant. The next thing we need to do is to use our idea generator, which is over or understate the figure. Make it very high or make it extremely low. But when we do that, we have to come with numbers. We can't use 0. And we cannot either use infinite. It's good if we come with numbers for this exercise. Now let's look at the IGs. 30 to 40 items on a menu. And the IG here is only 3 items on the menu, which is reducing, understating. The second one, 4 people at a table. 1,000 people can be seated at the table. This is expanding, overstating. A dinner costs about $30 per person. And the idea here is a dinner costs only 50 cents per person, reducing. Now we have these statements in front of us, and we need to come up with new ideas. How can we go about this? Let's give it a try. For the first one, 30 to 40 items on the menu. So you reduce that to only 3 items on the menu. If you have this kind of situation, if you are put in that perspective, what kind of ideas can you come up with? Breakfast menu. So please share your ideas on the chat box. I love the ideas you have been sharing so far, so I'm very excited. What kind of ideas, you know? And if you have an idea that you would like to explain, it's okay that you unmute yourself and talk.
Okay, my specialty is somebody's written, okay, 1 platter of each, 3 items, theme-based food, okay.
So what I would like to say is we have only 3 items on the menu. And now what kind of offer can you make to your clients if you can have a menu with only 3 items?
Okay, takeaways, top selling items. Okay.
Meal experience. Very good.
Okay, simple but tasty favorites. Okay. Three items as per customer choice. Okay. 3 different thalis. Okay. That's great.
Great. So let's say, for example, the idea I would have here is, I don't know if it's the same as what's written here, but what I have is, it will show everything. So the idea I have here is, how about having a menu with 3 main things? The menu, on the menu you have fish, $10, chicken, $12, like beef, or let's say mutton, $10. And when you pay the fish, we have all the side dishes spread there. You can eat all you want. You can add on whatever you want, but you have to pay $10 with that plate and some space on it. And you go pick whatever you want. This is just one example. And sorry, when I press this, all the ideas will come once. I don't know what's written here. I will go to the next idea. Now, number 2, 4 people can be seated at a table. 1,000 people can be seated at a table. What kind of ideas can we have for that? No table. Wonderful. And let me say something. It's very important. When I use the idea, when I say 1,000 people can be seated at a table, so the idea I come up with doesn't have to have exactly 1,000 people. The goal here is to come up with ideas that gives you bigger options. So if the maximum seat is 16 people seats, if with that example, even if we're using 1,000, if you can have 50 people sitting at the same table, that's a success already. So the numbers here, you don't have to stick to it at the letters. The numbers here are just here to show you either a big number or a very restricted number.
Yeah, I would say these are just triggers for you to think outside of your standard features or standard box of thinking.
Exactly.
Okay, so we got some mass canteen, food court, standing around the table, celebration dinners, langar. People in India would be familiar with the concept of langar. Okay, great, very good.
Great, great, great. So in here, I think many of you have either seen this or seen it on the media. There is, we have it a lot in sushi restaurants in Japan. The kind of conveyor belt, you know.
Yeah.
So if you have a conveyor belt that transports foods, you know, you pick what you want to eat and you keep the dishes, and at the end they're counted. That's, you know, something that could be out of this idea. Some other ideas can be hit there, and you guys came up with some of them. Now, number 3, a dinner costs about $30 per person. Idea generator or the trigger. A dinner costs 50 cents per person. 50 cents. So how much, I mean, what ideas can we come up with when we are in front of this kind of situation? Again, back to your keyboards.
Okay, let's hear some new ideas and from everybody. Okay. Okay. One product, mass production. Okay. Discounts. Meal in one. I didn't understand. Pre-paid food packs. Okay. Low price. Okay. Limited foods in boxes. Okay. Mini sets. Okay. Yeah. Good. Okay. Limited.
Very good.
Cost can be 50 and then remaining for other things. Okay. Good.
You guys are very, very brilliant. Keto diet set.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, the idea here might be you can try samples. You know, it doesn't have, again, the idea here is to help you, the trigger here is to help you come up with ideas. So that doesn't mean that we have to only have a dinner that will cost 50 cents, but to trigger us to come up with different ideas. And in here, you can try samples before ordering the main dish. So if I have, you know, a salad, a Caesar salad, and I have someone who this is the person's first time in our restaurant. The Caesar salads cost $5. But before I buy it $5, I have the option to pay 50 cents to have a small portion of it to taste before I really buy it. You know, and that's very innovative.
Yeah.
You know, so these are the type of examples and type of ideas that can come up with some of the tools we're using. So the first one was, you know, all kind of side dishes can be added to 3 basic items on the menu. Very similar to what I said. And the large conveyor belt. So this is the technique O. And I don't know how far we should go with this, but I can quickly introduce you the IDS, Innovation Driver Survey.
Yeah, you can do that. And also,
I would
maybe
like to
we
keep,
can continue this example of a restaurant, and people can come up with some other applications of this technique O. Okay.
yeah,
But maybe I think it's better we should move to the survey, introduce the survey, and share that link. I think that will be better.
yeah. Let's do that. Okay.
So this is about looking at is the organization environment ready for innovation? Okay. So Dante, you're going to you
Yes.
want me to share the link or?
Yes, please go ahead and share the link.
Okay, great. And you can,
Meanwhile, I'll be,
yeah, you can introduce. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And by the way, I have also shared the brochure in the chat earlier. So if you're not access the brochure in the meeting invite, you can also download it from here that I have sent. Okay. And Dante, you can continue, and I will just
The
put
link
in
is
the
also, survey is also shared, I think.
yeah, the survey is also shared in the meeting invite. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Manoj, thank you.
My
Okay.
PC is very heavy. I don't know why.
So you want to
okay. Okay.
Go ahead, Dante.
Yeah. So now let me introduce you the innovation driver survey. And we did not have this innovation driver survey in the past, but we have worked with many managers, of organizations, and they did the job for their teams, and very quickly we started to have requests for how can I convince my company that we need innovation, and that innovation is not only about just a team. Of course, as I said, we need to have a team to follow up with, but it's good if more people are involved in it and understand it and can help for the implementation. So the survey we have, the innovation driver survey, it helps us look at the thinking around innovation through these five main aspects. The first one is idea generation. So idea generation is very important, as we have seen. How much or how your team is doing with idea generation. For example, this is the example I have here is idea generation. Your team is good at generating new ideas, testing ideas, viability, and solving problems. They're also good at seeking and appreciating new and different way of viewing things. But that might not be the reality for all the organizations. So when people go through it, that helps us figure out how people are doing with idea generation. And some people can be very creative, but because of the work process, on the workload, they cannot take time to deal with innovation. The second thing is the entrepreneurship. Your team is good at selling new ideas to others in the organization, getting resources and achieving goals. It is also appreciative of energetic, determined employees with strong commitment and willingness to accept ideas despite risk. So that's how you push your idea. When you polish your idea and try to present it the best way, you get support, and teams need to be good at that. But people don't really have this framework in mind, and therefore, if you don't know what you are missing, or if you don't know that you are missing something, you will never know what you are missing. That's what we're trying to say here. If you don't know that you are missing something, you will never know what you are missing because it's out of your spot. So that's the reason why this framework and these aspects of looking at the innovation is very important. The entrepreneurship is about that, how you can sell your idea internally and make it accepted. And then the next step is the project leading. How do you lead the project in the organization in terms of, planning, structuring, and designing, the teams, and your effectiveness in terms of project management. And then after that, we have gatekeeping. Your team is good at getting internal and external information about the project. Your team openly shares information with one another, often face-to-face, with many, staying attentive to all interests. So in here, it's all about, the information, because when you're working on new ideas, it's not, if you limit it to only what you know or only what people know within your organization, you can have your limitations. So open the door. If I'm working on a project and I don't have enough understanding of it, I can go out and go to a business school and try to chat with some of the professors there. I can go to a minister and try to get more information about something. So don't stick to only the resources you have in the organization, but try to go beyond that and be flexible about that. And then we have last, the sponsoring. The leaders in your organization are good at encouraging and moving, moving innovative projects along. They buffer the project team from unnecessary constraint while helping it get what is needed from others in the organization, or what it needs from others in the organization. So you always need to have a sponsor in the organization. Try to be very good at communicating. Try to see who likes your idea the most in the management team and approach that person. Try to involve that person more and try to use the strength of that person in terms of implementing your ideas. So in the result, these are the main things we try to measure, but at the same time, it's also to help organizations see that the way we talk about innovation is not the reality within our organization. We can think that innovation is all about people being creative and say that they want to do this, but the perception people have in the organization about innovation is very important. If you don't do that, you can have creativity, but the implementation may not be there. Right. And at BCon, we believe that innovation equals creativity plus implementation, as Manoj brilliantly have written for us right now. So I will stop here, and I would let the floor to Manoj for the last 5 minutes. And if there are some questions you would like to take or you wanted me to take, I'll be more than happy to do that. Okay, or if anyone wants to share anything, their thought about the session or what they would like to do from now, their interests and so on and so forth, whatever they will have.
Right. So Dante, thank you very much for a brilliant session and sharing this innovative thinking system with all of us. And everybody, thank you very much for your participation. We are really grateful for you spending your time with us. So
I joined Manoj to thank you very much for that. I really, really appreciate it.
So we got 5 minutes. If you want to ask any quick question, you can do that. And if you want to hang out a little later to have any detailed conversation, you can definitely do that. And otherwise, we can also start wrapping up. So thank you very much, everybody. Deeply appreciate your presence here. Hope this was worth your time. And if you want to discuss further how we could have similar introductions in your own companies or other groups, we can do that. So be in communication. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Dante. It was a great session. Thank you, Manoj, for inviting.
You're very welcome. Please
Welcome.
open your theater. Please open your theater. I'm coming there. I
Thank
love
you,
the
Dante.
idea.
Thank you, Manoj.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Manoj.
Anna.
Thank you, Dante.
Everybody.
It was a
And
nice
was
session.
brilliant.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
you.
Good. Have a great day, afternoon, good evening, whatever your path.
Thanks, Dante. Thanks, Manish.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you
Thanks.
very much.
Thanks, Manoj. Thanks,
Thank
Mr. Dante.
you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome,
Yes.
everybody. Thank you. Neeraj, thanks. Okay, so I'm going to stop the